Okay. All right. I would like to call to order the Finance Committee meeting of Tuesday, March 28th. It is 1:01 p.m. and we are live on a digital platform. We have 5 items on today's agenda, and our first item is an appointment to the Historical Architectural Review Board. Is Justin here? I apologize. Skip is here. Hey, Skip. Sorry, I thought that you were not going to be in attendance. Hi, Justin. I see he is.
Yes, I'm present.
All right. Fantastic. Okay, then I think we will kick off with our appointment. Oh, and excuse me, let me call the roll. So out of the gate, we have only 3 members of the Finance Committee here today. We have myself, Liz Mealy, as well as Randy Allison from the Finance Committee. Eric Biter could not be with us today. And then other members of council who are in attendance, I see Bonnie Katz as well. Then from the administration, we have Tracy Rash from finance, Chris Black from IT, Skip Memme from community development, John Sander, the city engineer, Janice Frank from the city clerk's office, and then we have Mr. Wheeler, who we are interviewing for an appointment to the Historical Architectural Review Board. Okay, Skip, I think you're presenting Mr. Wheeler. Can you go ahead and kick things off?
You're muted.
Can you unmute yourself?
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Wheeler has submitted his letter of interest in filling a vacancy on the Historic Architectural Review Board. We've provided you with his letter of interest. We've also provided you with his resume of what he has done and what he's capable of. I believe he would be a good fit for us, but that's a decision the board needs to make. He's here to answer any and all of your questions.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Skip. And just to be clear, did you say that Mr. Wheeler had sought us out rather than vice versa, or did we initially ask him to serve and then?
He sought us out off of the, I believe, off of the website where we have a request out there for those that are interested in serving on the Historical Architectural Review Board, and he sent us his letter of interest.
Okay. Then Mr. Wheeler, can you speak a little bit to your, so actually, I guess first off, I'm assuming that the administrative folks probably told you this already, but this is not an interview per se. We, council several years ago now began the whole approach of interviewing folks who were interested in serving on various city committees, commissions, and boards in committee. And we won't take a vote or anything like that on your appointment. We'll be voting on it on Thursday. So this is just kind of a conversation about the responsibilities of the board and your interest in it, and you know, whether or not you feel like you can take on the workload, et cetera, et cetera. So can you give us a little bit of an idea of why you're interested in serving on HARP?
Sure, absolutely. Yes, so my partner and I moved to Williamsport in December of 2021 from State College. Basically, primarily because we found a home here that we fell in love with, a historic home in the historic district. Really were charmed by the character of Williamsport, by the well-preserved historic architecture. So very much committed to preserving that, and you know, certainly interested in opportunities to preserve and really hold that up as an asset for Williamsport. Yeah, so that's my primary background, I guess, to get started.
Okay, excellent. And you do live in the district on Vine Avenue, and I don't know that we've correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know that we've ever had a HARB member who lived on Vine Ave before, which must be kind of an interesting spot, because I think you're sort of right there.
We're pioneers. So no, living in State College, I was really familiar with living among, you know, college students in close proximity. So yeah, but we're pretty much, I believe, the only owner occupied home on this particular block of Vine. not counting our neighbors whose home faces Maynard.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you're exactly where I was picturing you being.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. I used to live in the district for quite a long while, and when I moved, it was not really by choice so much as because we outgrew the space we were living in, and there wasn't a reasonable way to expand it. But it's neat. But yeah, that particular block, I have known other folks who lived in that block, and there's a lot of college activity, so you have to be aware of that and used to
Yes,
it.
yes, yeah, for good and bad, yeah. The first year was a lot quieter, I will say, than this year has been, but you know,
Oh,
it's
the pandemic. Yeah.
I'm aware of, you know, the variability of living with college students, and you know, every year you get a new batch, so.
It's true. Yeah, that's absolutely the case. Well, we're delighted to have you in the district, and certainly, I'm assuming I'm not familiar with State College's design review board, but did that have any? We have a couple of different design review boards in the city, or we have had in the past. This HARB has some very specific kind of teeth to their process. That is to say, if they tell you you can't do something, then you actually can't do it.
Sure. Yeah.
And not all design review boards work that way. I don't know, was the Borough State College's design review board, could you tell people no, and that was it? That was the end of it?
Very limited. So when I started, the design review board and the historic architectural review board were separate in State College, and I was on the design review board. While I was on that board, they did merge. And so I believe that they do have a little more teeth now, but basically they're a community board that makes recommendations to council. So though they review architectural plans and this, that, and the other, there's not really, unless it's violating a code, there wasn't really a lot that we could say. But we could certainly make suggestions or recommendations.
Got it. And I think HARB functions, I mean, right, council always affirms, or in a hand, I'm not sure if ever in my experience. Randy, have we reversed one of HARB's decisions ever? I'm trying to remember. There might have been one time.
We did. Yeah, we did one.
Yeah. Okay.
Which actually was on Vine Avenue. If you remember, it's a little bit up from where Mr. Wheeler is.
Yeah. I think it was Windows, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I
third floor windows, if I recall.
Yeah. But yeah, as a rule, council pretty much always sides with HARB's decision-making process, because we try to make certain that when we appoint people to the HARB board, those people are professionals, frankly, with more experience often than members of council have in the particulars of specifically historical architectural review. So it's exciting, I think, to have someone who comes to us with some experience in that area. I see from the rest of your resume that you're not like an architect or anything like that, because we are, of course, required as well to have certain people with specific job types and specific sorts of education on the board. But anyway, that you come to us with an awareness of historic architecture, even if you don't necessarily have it in your work background.
Yes, I'm much more dangerous. I'm a knowledgeable amateur. So I've I've had historic homes owned 3 and lived in 4 historic homes in Pennsylvania now over the past 14 years. So one was 1925, one was 17 something. So, you know, they have their challenges, and I've done a lot of home repairs and remodeling and fixing of historic homes.
Yeah, they certainly are a blessing and a curse, I think, but there's something really spectacular about it when it's going well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, Randy, did you have any questions for or Bonnie, I suppose, out there for Mr. Wheeler?
No, I don't have any questions. I just we're delighted that you've chosen to live in Williamsport and rehabilitate here and also be a part of our review board. And just to be clear, that window issue that we did reverse, it was a very minor change. It was just their arched windows, and it was whether we were going to allow them to have an arched window with horizontal pane across or not. So
Got it. Okay.
So we haven't made any significant reversals of their recommendations.
Sure.
Yeah, your diversified background in communications and graphic design and all those things. I think it gives you a good perspective on certain things that you're going to run into. But yeah, welcome aboard, and look forward to maybe interacting more with you as you get into it some more.
Okay. Yeah, we're delighted to have you take an interest in HARB, Justin. I think you'll be a real asset to the board. And frankly, some of your familiarity with social media and other web design elements may also be an asset to the board, to the extent that you're willing to bring those to the table. So
Sure. Sure.
You are welcome to either virtually or in person attend our council meeting on Thursday. But part of the purpose of the interview process is Randy and I will go ahead and represent what we discussed with you on Thursday. You don't really need to be there, but if you'd like to, you're more than welcome to come. We will do you the favor of putting you first, so you don't need to stay for the entirety of the council meeting.
Great. No, I'm happy to attend.
We're very close to first, one way or the other.
I am finishing up grad school at the moment, and so I do actually have a class on Thursday evening, but it doesn't start until 8. So yeah, provided I can be early in the agenda, I'd be happy to attend.
Sure. Well, you're welcome to, but like I said, you don't need to. And and so and we can certainly, Chris, could you possibly make sure if you'd like to attend virtually, Chris can get you the link, I think.
Yes, I do have that. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. All right. Then we will perhaps look forward to seeing you on Thursday. And thank you so much. As I said, I personally, yeah, it is exciting to have you interested in HARB. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm excited as well. So yeah, thank you for extending the opportunity.
All right, wonderful. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Then that concludes the interview. Thanks for joining us today.
Okay, great. Enjoy your afternoon. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
So long.
Thank you, Rose.
Thank you, Skip. All right. Hey, Skip. Quick
Yes,
question for you. The next item on our agenda is a resolution to apply for DCNR funding. Do you have any sort of ability to address that? The mayor couldn't make the meeting today, and we can just wait on it until we get to the general, to the full council meeting on Thursday, unless.
I'm not aware of what the mayor is looking to do with that DCNR funding at the moment.
Yeah. So then, yeah. So then I think we'll just wait until the
I
mayor's
can
here.
give just a high level overview of what we're looking at here, just real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure. Okay, hold on. Let me read it into the record then quick, John. Sorry. Dropbox is for some reason getting to me today. I don't know why. Okay. Item number 2 then is a resolution for the city of Williamsport to apply for DCNR funding. Okay, John, high level.
Yeah, sure. So real quickly, Mayor Slaughter is very big on this pump track. Obviously big on recreation in general, but the pump track over at Shaw, we've gone after it, 2 or 3 times now with grant opportunities. We've not secured the grant multiple times. We're going after a grant one more time with DCNR here. The grant amount from DCNR would be $250,000. We would have to match it with $250,000 of our own money. And I think we've all seen photos of it before, where this pump track is a dirt track that bicyclists ride on with a beginner, intermediate, and advanced track. And I don't want to give too much more information because this is kind of Mayor Slaughter's item, but that's all I wanted to kind of discuss about it. So
Got it. And it looks as though we've already found funding for both bathhouse improvements, and we know we already authorized the tennis court improvements, right?
Correct.
So actually the total price tag on this item is slightly under that $500,000 mark if we were to get this grant and match it. The 250 match, I presume, would be ARPA funds.
That is what Mayor had loosely alluded to, but I'm not going to put words in his mouth, so I don't want to.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we can certainly, we'll need to discuss this further on Thursday, but Randy, did you have any additional questions about this?
No, they just got answered.
Okay. John, do you know where we're at with the sort of rec plan that I know that DCED was it DCED was undertaking, like a recreation plan with the city?
DCNR, we were awarded a opportunity to go after a total citywide green space infrastructure plan initiative,
Right.
plan to redo basically since like 2007. We will soon be putting out a request for proposal
Got
to
it.
hire a firm to help us do that, and then concurrently appoint a steering committee that helps everyone give direction.
Got it. Give input. So the presumption is that we might not be successful with the pump track application this year because we're still in the throes of doing the actual evaluation of rec, right? On the other hand, we might, but
We did have
but
a
at
very,
least we're getting our name in the, what's that?
we did have
Sorry?
an extremely successful meeting with representative from DCNR, and that particular gentleman really liked this idea of this pump
Is
track.
was that Wes?
It was.
Okay, thought so. Yeah, he's a good guy. Well, that'd be fan. I mean, it would be great to get the funding earlier rather than later. I'm assuming, have we applied for other grants that involved less of a match?
Last one we applied for was zero match. The one before
Okay.
that was like 30% match. So, but I don't remember. There was a couple of iterations over the last couple
Got
of
it.
years. So, yeah.
So this is the highest match, but at least it looks as though we'd be able to, hi Tracy, be able to, looks as though we'd be able to fund it if you know, between the match, at least the match and the amount requested from DCNR would fully fund the work, which is good. Okay. Well then, yeah, certainly I think we would hope that this would be successful, but if it is not, then, sorry. But if it is not, then we can keep plugging away and hope that once we complete DCNR's full evaluation, this will slot into it, I suppose. Okay. All right. Thanks, John. Randy, you said all of your questions have been answered to the extent that they can be in a
Yes.
high level way. All right. Then we'll move on. Tracy, I do believe you're up next. On the other hand, sorry, I keep toggling back and forth. Item number 3 is a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement between the City of Williamsport and Government Finance Solutions. Tracy, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Good.
Good, thank
Very good.
you.
So-
I'm just,
You're better all the time.
no, it's making me laugh that, in Dropbox, this is labeled Resolution Tracy. So
Oh.
Resolution Tracy.
Nice.
How are you?
I'm good. So all this is it's the same contract that you've had in front of you multiple times. I've just been asked to come before you when we hit certain thresholds, and we're there now. So we're, just coming back for the next 3 months or 85.
Yeah, got it. Randy, I think you had some questions. Certainly we'll have to discuss this also in the full body of council, but Randy, did you want to get things started?
You mean on this contract here?
Yeah. Maybe I'm getting confused and it was actually Adam Yoder who was texting me about that. I apologize.
I think it was Adam. Yeah, I'll let that go. Go ahead.
Okay.
I did read that.
So Tracy, I think if I had to guess, and we can have some of this discussion here, but chances are other members of council are going to want to see it kind of played out on Thursday as well, just so that everyone's hearing the same thing. Sorry, I was just trying to look up some notes on my phone here. What is the plan? Where are we at with some of the staffing that we were discussing adding in the finance department this year?
We have offered and had accepted an accounting manager position. That person starts on April 3rd. So that's
Okay.
really exciting.
Mhm.
And we had hired a part-time accounts payable person, and that person did not stay very long. So we are in the process of interviewing for that position a second time.
Okay. Yeah, some of the lesser positions, especially the part-time positions, are really hard right now.
Really hard. We have 3 more interviews this week though. So
Okay. Oh, good. So at least we have a decent number of applicants. That's a start.
well, 3 that
Um,
have some qualifications that might
Okay.
work.
Yeah, well, all right. So hopefully. But we have someone starting as an accounting manager, you said on on
April 3rd.
And then
right,
where are
and-
we at in terms of, yes, sorry.
The finance director is slated to begin July 1st. We haven't advertised for that yet because we still have a little bit of time till we get that ironed out and advertised.
Got it. Do we have, so we don't have like the complete list of job duties or anything like that put together yet? We don't have.
A preliminary copy, but not final for sure.
Okay. Got it. And so obviously we won't be looking at any real transition of government finance solutions out of the finance office until significantly after July 1st, but we won't even start looking at how possible that is until we get to July 1st, correct?
Well, what I had included in the budget was 3 days per week through June 30th, and then down to 1 day a week.
Okay. All right. So the idea is that we'll be able to transition with that new hire with you in 1 day a week. Okay. I mean, obviously anybody we hire for that high level of position should have that level of expertise. I'm
I'm hopeful, but the market is not very good right now, but I'm hopeful.
Okay. Got it. So what you're saying is we're going to need to adjust the budget if we are if the hire that we make is not as experienced as what we were hoping.
I'm hoping that we can find someone with the skills that will help you. And I'm hoping to have it in a place where they're moving forward and not spending a lot of time looking back. That's my goal.
Got it. Okay. I think that's a good goal. Okay. And so this contract you say should take us through approximately the next 3 months anyway. So should get us about to that June 30th point.
Right.
Okay. And not to ask the really fun question, but how's the audit going, Tracy?
So I've gotten through most of the 2019 information. Where I am is I'm unable to reconcile the transfers and due froms with RVT between what was then the transportation fund and the other city funds. So I'm actually meeting with RVT tomorrow afternoon to try to work through those items. I have already contacted the auditor and told them they are on call so that when this gets done, that they will be ready to start.
Okay, got it. All right. Excellent. Okay. All right. So we're at least making some sort of progress. And then presumably moving forward, 2020, 2021, each get easier, especially in terms of the RBT justifications, I would think.
I would love to say that, but I have not progressed to those balances yet. So
Okay.
I'm going to withhold my evaluation until I start looking at that.
Got it. All right. Okay. Randy, do you have any further questions for Tracy right now?
Yeah, just one. Have you had any contact, or have we had any contact as the city with FTA, Federal Transit Authority? Is there anything going on there?
Yes, I think you are all aware that the FTA has started what they are calling an audit of the transactions at the city and RVT. We have all received lists of items that the FTA auditors are looking for. They have sent us internal control questionnaires. To the extent that they were able to be answered, they have been answered and provided back to them. The last communication I recall getting from the FTA was that most of the documentation that those auditors are looking for is at RVT itself. And so I haven't heard anything since that email stating that.
Okay, great. It sounds like we're getting progress there, Of course, we haven't heard anything on council, and just the specter of another added process that might drag on for months. I think, from what you've shared there, maybe it's not going to be that long of a drawn out affair.
Again, once they said that the documentation wasn't kept at the city and RVT, it's kind of been off my plate.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Thank you.
Good question, Randy. All right. Is there Bonnie Katz? Did you have any questions to ask about this item? I know I see you're on the meeting, so I wanted to offer you an opportunity.
Oh, thank you, Liz. But no, not right now.
Okay. All right. Then Tracy, as I said, I think there will be probably some discussion to be had during the full body council on Thursday too, especially since we're one member short on finance. So I think we can, and you'll be able to be there on Thursday, correct?
I will. I'll be in the city starting tomorrow, so I will be there for the meeting.
All right. Exactly. All right. Awesome. All right. Thanks very much. Then we don't need to take up any more of your time today. We'll see you on Thursday.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
Does that sound okay?
See you, Tracy.
Thanks. You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, moving on to the final quote unquote action item on our agenda. John Sander, a resolution hiring WSP for levy. I think that's supposed to be SQRA, correct? Support services?
Yes, it should, whatever you have in front of you should read SQRA support services, yes.
Okay, it says, ours says SORA. And I'm wearing my glasses, so I'm pretty sure I'm right. But anyway, for resolution hiring WSP for levy SQRA support services. What can you tell us?
Yeah, sure. So this was another one the mayor asked me to do, so I'm going to do that for you. I have no issues with that whatsoever. So the city of Williamsport is in now an SQRA process with our levy system, which will run for, could be 6 months, could be 12 months, could be 18 months, depending on what the Army Corps of Engineers find. With that, WSP, formerly Wood, formerly a couple different companies, they will need to be available to be able to provide support services to the Army Corps, because they have roughly a decade's worth of information, not only information, but files, detailed physical survey of the levee system, detailed geotechnical investigations of a levee system, detailed evaluations of the levee system, detailed hydrologic and hydraulic information, which is incredibly important with basically what the SQRA is based on, detailed interior drainage modeling, all of which needs to be delivered from WSP to the Army Corps. They've already begun that process. Obviously, they're a private entity. They want paid for this. So to do this, their costs are roughly $77,000. They will be participating in the bi-weekly meetings with the Army Corps that we've started up having this week, or last week, I think it was actually. Their current staff will be available for them to transfer information, answer questions. There will be WSP will be in person with the Army Corps on May 29th, that week or two, where the Army Corps is actually coming to town to get as much information from the cities on the city's levee system as they can physically get. We actually provided a meeting room for them to kind of use as their home base. That's kind of it in a nutshell. WSP pulled together a cost proposal, and they've estimated in man hours of roughly $77,000 worth of work for this endeavor. And this would be funded with ARPA funding, because we don't have any other line items in our budget that fit for this, I don't believe.
Got it. And this, I think, is a fitting use of the ARPA funding that we've got there that we're holding for the levy anyway. We're pretty sure that 77,000, it sounds as though what you're saying is Wood is basically providing information that they already possess, correct?
Yes, 100% correct,
okay.
yes.
All right. And Wood, who would have probably a lot more insight into this than we would, does not anticipate having to do further services in order to complete this work on the SQRA?
No,
Okay.
Wood no longer, well, like they exist, but
WSP, yeah.
WSP will be just transferring information and participating in meetings and being working as a liaison for both the city and the county, because they've worked on the levee system for what, 10 years now or something like that. So.
Got it. And this contract obviously does not authorize them to undertake any new work that would exceed that $77,000 without us being made aware, correct?
No, ma'am, it's just the one sheet proposal you think you have in front of you, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at it. I'm just trying to make sure we've, Wood has done a lot. WSP back when they were wood, did a lot of investigation on various parts of the levee. And and they should be in possession of all the information required. I'm just trying to make sure that they wouldn't move into new work that would generate more cash outflow without our approval. So,
No.
Randy, what questions do you have?
So, this is an estimate that they gave us. It's
Correct.
not a not to exceed amount. It's just, I mean, it is in a sense, but it's based on their estimate of the time it would take them. And you mentioned that they're going to do some things that are going to be related to the county.
Well, WSP also works, the county is also their client as well. So I
Right.
didn't necessarily for the county, it's for the city. The only reason the county was representing the city during that time frame is I think the levy project or problem in totality was too large for the city to manage. Well, we're getting there and we all know that anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah. So, but no, they're not. This is just for the city, meaning
Okay, I
just
didn't know
for
if that meant there
the
was
city
gonna
of
be-
Williamsport's levy system that we are the local sponsor for, that goes up into Old Lycoming, which actually still is part of the city of Williamsport, swings all the way down the river and all the way up to St. Anne's Church. That is all the responsibility of the city of Williamsport.
Right. Okay. I just wondered if there was going to be any cost sharing or anything like that. So, what, maybe this is getting into too many technicals. What is the Army Corps going to be looking at now that they haven't already seen or covered or?
Yeah. Okay, give me a second here.
I
What
guess
they're
I'm
looking at
kinda-
now is they're going to be doing a deep dive into WSP's existing hydrologic and hydraulic modeling of our entire levee system. So our levee system is built to hold a certain year storm event, which is easily calculated by people that are actually very fluent in this language actually as well. I did a lot of it in the private sector. We have stream gauges, USGS stream gauges located along Lycoming Creek, for instance.
Mhm.
Those stream gauges can be translated into a flow value, a peak flow value. That peak flow value gets put into a massive 3D program called HEC-RAS that builds the basis of the design storm, which in this case is the 100-year storm. What the Army Corps of Engineers will be doing is we'll be evaluating our levee system to make sure it can contain the design storm, which is the 100-year storm. If not, if there's an issue with that, they will be looking at what risks happen if that is not the case.
Okay, I guess, as a layperson, not in on this whole project, from start to finish, it just seems to me that at this point in the game, it just seems late to be determining those kinds of things.
This
because-
wasn't determined. This was determined about 6-7 years ago. No one spoke up about it,
Okay.
but I have no problem speaking up about it now.
Okay. All right. It is what it is because they hold all the cards. I just wondered why it's not a little more efficient. It almost seems like maybe we're covering ground that's already been covered, but hasn't totally been covered in the right places. But
And I will let you know that WSP, one high-level assistant vice president or the vice president themselves will be on the call Thursday night. They couldn't be on
Okay.
right now, but they will be on Thursday night to answer any more detailed questions. So like,
Okay,
for instance, that
great.
question, I think
All
they'll be able to answer
okay,
as well. So,
I'll hold my questions till then. Thanks,
Yes.
John. Appreciate
yes,
it.
sir.
Thanks for that little brief primer there. That's very helpful.
Liz, I have a question.
Sure, Bonnie, shoot.
John, I thought we did an SQRA support services several years ago. I
I've only been here 3 years, Bonnie. I don't know. The SQRA is a new, I want to call it product that the Army Corps has put out. We are now in the SQRA process. We've initiated that with the Army Corps. That's one thing. This in front of you is just $77,000 to pay WSP to provide information to be basically the liaison between the city and the Army Corps, because they have all the information. But no, the SQRA process is a new initiative that the Army Corps has started for levies that have problems like ours. So that's what we're into now.
See, I thought those initials. I hate when we work with initials all the time. We're
Yeah.
trying to, in your mind, trying to transpose everything. But that really-
SQRA stands for Semi-Quantitative Risk Assessment. So,
And I thought we already did that. We really did, several years ago. I think the thing that bothers me the most is we keep on getting bills and bills and bills from Wood, which started out as AMEC. Okay, and that was what, Randy, 10, 12 years ago?
Yes.
And I keep on asking for at least a spreadsheet of how much money we have given them. I mean, this has been, and I think this is what they're doing at this point, is asking for accountability, from what I'm understanding of what you're saying, John.
yeah. And I believe actually Miss Rash, Tracy Rash, who hopped off the call, actually provided that to you a couple months ago. In addition, I know I primed WSP with this exact same questions that you might be asking them Thursday night. So they are ready for this.
Okay, because this is one of the things that, we want to know exactly what has been done. I mean, it's been study after study after study. And yes, a lot of it is FEMA and pushed and it's an Army Corps pushed. But it's gotten to a point where it's coming out of our funding. It's coming out of so many different areas that, we're still waiting for the process to be unfolding here.
Yeah.
And I think this is, to me, having a support service, maybe this is the best thing that could have happened at this point to see exactly where we stand. It's been a long process, and I think we're all waiting for it. I mean, there's so many things that hinge on this. I mean, from what I understand, the mayor's supposedly in Washington at this point looking for more money. I do have a question, John.
Yes.
Is there a way of finding out if we've put to use the $500,000 from the chamber that they designated for the levy? Do you
There is
know if that was ever used?
Yes, Derek and I, Mayor Slaughter and I were just speaking out the other day. In addition to what we're talking about now, everything in totality, at 2:30, I'm going to be talking about our $8 million levy earmark.
Yay.
What's that?
Yay.
And with that levy earmark, that gets them, it obviously was congressionally directed spending, it gets passed through FEMA and PEMA. We, the city, have to pay a portion of that, 25% every time we draw out of that pot. So that funding that you alluded to, Bonnie, from the chamber may be a possibility, but I mean, obviously I don't want to publicly ask for people money, but yes, that is a possibility. I know they have a $500,000 in hand for construction related funding, and we're getting really, really close right now for that.
I don't want them to say, okay, nothing's been going forward and take that money away from us. Okay, I think that's the one that bothers me, because $500,000 is a lot. And the one thing that was surprising is, and we found this out several years ago from Senator Yaw, that if you're not earmarked, you get nothing. And, and it's very important to have the earmarks there. So, I mean, and finally, we've learned how to deal with that and work within that. But yeah, these are just, we keep on asking questions, and I think, the taxpayers want to know where we stand.
Yeah.
We all want to know where we stand.
Let me give you a little more information if you don't mind. So our levee system is 11.5 miles long, includes 65 cross pipes, 102 wells, 9 pump stations, miles of earth and levee, thousands of linear feet of concrete, earth retaining wall. It's too big of a system for the city to manage. So every year we only put about $300,000 in our budget for the levee. That is not enough. So I know we've already discussed about this week or two weeks ago, that we're looking towards a levee authority, or if you want to call it a hazard management authority, whatever. That's the next step the city of Williamsport has to get into in order to be able to fund this thing ourselves. So it's self-generating its own revenue so it can take care of itself. Or we're going to be really bogged down talking about paying other firms all the time and getting into these, SQRA is not a good thing to be into. Either is the SWIFT plan, system-wide improvement framework. It's not a good plan to be in.
Mhm.
So we need to push to be working towards, and we are, the county is, Lycoming County is taking they're the ones that are pushing for this to start a levy authority. Quite frankly, it should have been done decades ago, decades and decades and decades ago.
Well, several of us went to Sunbury and looked at what they had to offer with everything, which is an incredible thing to see. But like you just stated, we are much larger than what they had,
Yes.
much larger. And I know Shannon is working on trying to put together, to do something for an authority. And you're right, this is exactly what we need. So we're not putting in a position that A, we might lose funding, B, we don't know if there's funding, and C, to get things accomplished. So there's three things that we need to get accomplished with all this. So, and I think having an authority will have people that's going to be their dedication. You have other things on your plate. Shannon has other things on her plate. That's why you need an authority that's going to surround just one area and concentrate on that area and get it done. So anyhow, I don't have any more. I'm sorry, I get off my soapbox.
No, these are all good questions. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. They are all good questions. And Bonnie, in particular, I don't know what to make of the levy process at this point. And I think I've been here, and Randy, you have as well. Bonnie, you've been here for almost the entire thing, and Randy and I have been here for the whole thing. And it is, I think, perhaps because of the involvement of multiple elements of the federal government, one of the most circular processes I can ever recollect. Where it seems as though we do something and then somehow or another 2 years later we're all like, wait, but didn't we just authorize a bunch of didn't we do? And we did. And sorry, this isn't making it sound any better, but I guess what I can say is that we're, perhaps to John's point, we're not really driving the bus, we're sort of passengers, and so we're trying to make sure that we're not throwing money away twice on the same thing to the extent that it's possible. But, we have to satisfy these two federal government entities that in turn are dealing with changing administrations. We've had several different presidents since this whole thing started, changing weather conditions. Climate change has upped the ante on any number of regulations relating to flood stages, what a 100-year storm consists of, what a 5-year storm consists of. So not only would this be perhaps a circular process simply because we're working with two federal agencies to bring the levy back into conformity, but I think they in turn are also updating their regulations as we are attempting to meet them in a way that means that we really are, we're kind of chasing our own tail here. And I don't, that doesn't make it better, but I think it might be the best explanation for what's going on.
Well, I think that's the biggest
and
problem.
hopefully
That's the biggest
Pardon me?
problem is you have two. That's the biggest problem. You have two government agencies that are not getting along and agreeing on everything. They both have different ideas of where they're coming from.
Well, there's a good reason for that, Ms. Katz. So the Army Corps of Engineers makes sure your levy is strong and in place. FEMA makes sure it's strong and in place and also has some wiggle room called freeboard because they issue the insurance. So they want to make sure your levy's strong enough, tall enough with some wiggle room because they're the ones that put out the FEMA flood maps that say, hey, you're paying insurance, you're not. So there's a whole, that's the reason for the two rationales of the Army Corps of Engineers and FEMA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, I don't know if there was a time that we could have, if there could have been worse timing for having the levy for discovering that we had not been properly maintaining the levy than the last 12 years because of all the severity of the storms we've been seeing, because of the ways in which levy requirements are being revised. I'm not even certain that we would have gotten in trouble about the levy had it not been for Katrina in 2005.
Exactly.
But we are where we are. And I think there are a number of other communities in the same boat. And the one bit of good fortune we've had is that we've benefited from a handful of earmarks to try and bring some of the cost elements under control.
Well, the one thing that happened is when Bill Wright first walked into a public works meeting with, this has to be done, this is what we were served with. We were also told there was no funding. We have at least traversed to where there is funding. We are getting money to at least address some of the problems. And I think that in itself has been a godsend in so many different areas. Plus, we also have the ARPA funds that's available for certain things in the levy. But there, at least Washington is paying attention. And this is one of the things that we've learned. The louder your voice in Washington, the more you get attained. And that was Fran McJunkin's thing. We got to make sure that we're front and center in Washington to get the funding that's needed for our levy. I mean, you're talking at least 30 to 40, if not $50 million worth of funding that's needed for this project. And, there's no way a county or, city can afford something like that. So, at least we have people in place, like you say, John, with Keller and the county that are going after this kind of money, because there's no way we can get this kind of help without that help anymore.
Right. Exactly. All right. But I think all of that is a whole bunch of talking to discover that we are where we are, correct?
Exactly. I think we just talk to get our frustrations out at times.
Well, I mean, yeah, you need to vent every once in a while, because it does seem, especially when you've been involved in the process for as long as we all have, and yet as tangentially as we all have, there's a bit of a just like, what again? And I can't imagine what it feels like, John, when you're new to the process and, and somebody has executed literally dozens, if not, if not hundreds of resolutions prior to your arrival, and trying to sort through what's been accomplished, what hasn't, whether or not it still meets the specs that are required for whatever new plan we have to do. Yeah. Must be insanely frustrating.
But a lot of those were passed for good, let's work real quick. A lot of those were passed for good reason. For instance, detailed survey, detailed geotechnical investigations, detailed evaluations, detailed H&H information, detailed hiring of wood to go after a grant opportunity that we didn't get. I mean, when you hire that company or whatever company it is to go after the grant, you got to pay that company even if you don't get the grant or not. So that's kind of
right. Yeah. No, I'm not necessarily saying that we were throwing money away. That's not the point that I'm making. I do feel as though we've done some of the work a couple of times over, in part because the standards have changed in the midst of us doing the work. And that could be a misapprehension on my part, just based, like I said, on being not really in the thick of it so much as on the edge of it as a council person. But anyway, one way or the other, clearly the SQRA needs to happen, even if perhaps it should have been part of the start of the whole process rather than something happening 10 years down the road. But so we will look forward to probably discussing this again on Thursday, John. Thanks for your patience. And we can move on at this point to item number 5, which is any related items. Does anyone here in the meeting have anything else to introduce for the good of the order? I see that we've lost almost everybody who wasn't directly impacted. So,
Mr. Black,
wait, what's that? Yes, sure, please, John.
Mr. Black just texted me that he got kicked off, so just wanted to let you guys know. No.
So it's our meeting now.
Yeah.
It's anarchy. All right.
We've hijacked it. There's been a coup.
Wait, does this mean that none of us can leave until Chris gets back in? Ms. Kapschner, will you let me get hi, Chris?
We're free roaming.
All right, anyway. Chris, we were going to take the meeting and do terrible things with it, except none of us knew how. So anyway.
Why does that really
okay, all
not
right, thanks very
surprise
much, folks. Yeah. Because it was Bonnie and I in here, Jesus. Anyway.
Hey, we wanted the wild west. That's what we wanted.
Exactly, right. Okay, anyway, we didn't hear any related items, Chris, so we're just about to adjourn the meeting. You got here at exactly the right time.
Yeah.
Okay, if I hear nothing else, then I would take a motion to adjourn, Randy.
So move.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you on Thursday, okay?
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too, Skip.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.